Hello everyone, this is Taff's word, and yeah, let's just say I'm hurting right now. Not only emotionally, like everybody else, but physically as well, because I was one of the mugs that helped out on the pitch in the morning beforehand, hoping that, we're going to put the effort in for them, they're going to put the effort in for us. And all we got was one big fuck off. I mean, we got the game on for those people. And you can see they just couldn't be bothered. You don't lose 4-0 to the team that's possibly the weakest in the division. I mean, technically, we're the weakest in the division because we're bottom of the league. But Leighton Orient had 9 youth team players in their squad. And 9 youth team players, well, 7 of them started apparently. And we're talking 7 youth team players. I wanted it so much more than our senior players that they turned us over. And they deservedly did so. And that's it. We can't. There is no excuses, and obviously you can't blame the ref for that. You can only blame the players on the pitch, and then the buck stops with the manager, of course, Mr. Graham Westley. Well, opinions on him have gone from everybody thinks he's great from right from the moment we appointed him, and we did the meet the manager night, and we really believed in this person. We really believed in everything he had to say. Every single thing he's tried at this football club has failed, and failed absolutely miserably. And now, in those failings, our attempts to stay in the Football League have failed miserably. Now, with 12 games left, the chances of us pulling it back are slim to impossible. And for me personally, there's only one final throw of the dice. And as much as we can't, as I think I've mentioned this, it's about having ex-managers on the payroll all the time. I think this is one I would personally put money into to pay off myself. Funny enough, I've had this conversation with a couple of county fans over the weekend after the game who have said exactly the same thing. Personally, yeah, I'd pay into a begging bowl to see this guy off now. I think what's done it for me is Aaron Williams has actually played well for us and scored goals, but he can't get a game. Yet Marlon Jackson hasn't done a single thing for us all season, yet he starts in possibly the most important game of our season. Then you start looking back at team selections and you start quizzing everything then and think, oh, actually, he started this guy in this game. Why the bloody hell did he start him? Well, he started Marlon Jackson a few times. And no, I got nothing personal against Marlon. I mean, he was signed by Warren Feeney because he had a good pre-season with us. He's just not up to this level. So, it's nothing personal. Because for me, he was one of the only players that actually tried. On the weekend, he was the only one trying to get into good positions and things like that. I mean, I can tell you now, right? I started this with the fact that I said that I'm hurting. I mean, obviously, my back is killing me and my legs and my arms are killing me from working on those sheets. I was harder work than what you even imagine, and whoever was there with us that day will back that one up. But I'm going to turn your attention to something here. That there is a signed shirt. That right there is a signed shirt for my first season back in the Football League, and that season was a decent season, and obviously we enjoyed it thoroughly being back in the Football League. The season after was great, and we've had 2 fucking miserable years after that. 2 miserable years that's going to end with us losing our Football League status after 25 years of hard bastard work from this football club. We're going to lose that Football League status after 4 measly nothing years. I mean, we're not going to expect the world. We're Newport County, we're realistic, in our fans. We're realistic people. League One, Championship, Premier League is going to be a step too far right now. We just had to spend the time in the Football League to build on it. And in 4 years, we should have built more. But in hindsight, that is what we would have done. But I think what we need to do now is if I mean it's still mathematically possible, but for me, I'm in my own mind, I'm resigned to expecting conference football next season. Not that I've given up. I think you just got to be realistic sometimes, and you've got to start preparing for the worst. And for me, I'm preparing for life in the conference again. It's going to be painful. it's something we haven't had to experience as a group of fans, really. I think we suffered one relegation in the early 90s, but that was back in those lower leagues, back in the Newport AFC days. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't hurt then. All I know is that it would have hurt that much more in 1988, and it's something that no one wanted to go through again. But the thing to remember, we've still got a club. We still have a future, regardless of what people might think. I mean, the board have come under a lot of scrutiny as well. I mean, end of the day, no one's free from scrutiny. I mean, I get on with some of these people that are on the board. Some of them I've never met, and obviously there's some of them that I do get on with. But at the end of the day, they know I'm realistic enough to point the finger at them when I feel as though, a finger is pointed at them is warranted. And on this occasion, they know that I'll point the finger for the appointments. I mean, appointing Warren Feeney was a mistake. Sheridan was a good call. They got 1 out of 3 at least, but well, actually no, not at least. No, 1 out of 3. Just obviously, I wouldn't have minded if that 1 out of 3 was this one. Westley talked the talk, but didn't walk the walk, and unfortunately, the Graham Westley show. I think it's time to cancel that. Graham Westley show is finished. I mean, if he was a real TV show, unfortunately, we got to the point where he's lost all his viewers, and it becomes untenable for the show to continue. In this case, he's lost all his supporters, so it's got to be untenable for his role at the football club to continue. I mean, he's always tried to pull the wool over our eyes right from the beginning. Unfortunately, he's run out of it. Our eyes can see clearly, and unfortunately, all they can see is conference football next season, and that's on him as much as anybody else. That's as much on, well, the thing is, right, yeah, it's on Westley because he knew what he had to deal with. I sympathise with Warren Feeney because you could see what he put together was a football team to play football, and obviously he's let down by the football pitch that we had in ways. Obviously his team selections, his tactics and his substitutions weren't the best, but at least under Warren Feeney, I don't think there was any games that we lost comfortably. I think we were in every single game. I think individual errors cost him his job, and I think the players were gutted for him. Wesley's come along with his ego and has trampled all over any sort of spirit that team had. I mean, one of the best players we've got, Ben Tozer, isn't playing for us at the moment, and that's on him. Mark Randall, his attitude stunk, so I don't want him at the football club anyway, so he can go. Compton, I can't really say we've seen an awful lot of what's going on with Compton. Looked a decent player, just wasn't getting any game time. Seemed frustrated and wanted to play, but now he's playing for Merthyr Town. It seems like anyone that questions Westley gets trampled on. And unfortunately, the team spirit has been trampled on. The fans' faith in Newport County has been trampled on, and we're losing supporters left, right, and centre. And yeah, at the moment, right, he's like a disease on the club, and unfortunately, that disease needs stopping before it spreads. Basically, I mean, what else can you say? I don't know how much more I can knock the guy. I mean, I had a lot of time for him, a lot of respect for him. I gave him an Amber Army badge and told him, look, you spoke well tonight. You spoke like you care about us. You're one of us now. Unfortunately, he was never one of us. He put that badge on for the Yeovil game, and we never saw it again after that. He didn't really care. He thought, I'll put it on for one game. That'll keep him quiet, I suppose. But it's just little things like that. Barry Fry spoke on the radio, and somebody very close to me spoke to me about this and told me Barry Fry said, look, he's a showman. He's all talk. He's got the gift of the gab, and that gets him places, but he doesn't allow that to unfold on the pitch in his teams. As much as he may say, I do this and I do that, no, unfortunately that's not been the case this time. And unfortunately I shot that person down, and I think and if anybody associated with this person is watching this, they're going to know who I'm talking about. But I shot that person down and said, Barry Fry's a dick, don't listen to what he says. And I'm not going to take that back. Barry Fry is a bit of a dick. I don't particularly like him that much. But but at the end of the day, this person was right and I was wrong. And I can hold my hands up and admit that. I've thought Graham Westley was a good manager. We sang the song for him. We all thought he was doing us well. He won 3 games, and we thought, brilliant, this is it. We're going to be saved again. But it seems as though the more he pissed off the players he was talking fucking playoffs with these players, and then all of a sudden, no, these players ain't good enough, I need to get my own team in. And the board, and I'll tell you something, right, as much as you want to criticise this board of directors, right, they backed him. They put money in and backed him, and you've got to respect them for that. They put their money in and they backed him. It got us nowhere, obviously, but at least they backed the manager, which not many boards do. A lot of boards will just say, work with what you got, and then we'd be down. Anyone that would turn around and say, oh no, this board had planned us for relegation right from the beginning, well, why the fucking hell have they supported him in the transfer market then, if relegation is on the cards, planning for life in the conference? I mean, the way to shoot that argument down is a lot of the time that argument is brought up, it's backed up with, he's signing players like David Pipe because he's planning for life in the conference. David Pipe is on loan until the end of this season. So how the bloody hell is signing David Pipe on loan for the rest of this season, planning for life in the conference for next season? You know what I mean? This board they backed Graham Westley. This board are fans of our football club just as much as any of us. I'd imagine this would be hurting them that bit more because this is all happening on their watch. They're in charge, and this is happening on their watch. Now, I'm not saying they haven't made mistakes. I'm not saying that they haven't let us down in some ways, because they have, and I think they know that. But at the end of the day, for anyone who tries to say that they were planning for life in the conference all along, barking mad, So, yeah, the pain is setting in really, really bad now, because May the 5th in 2013 was the best day of my life, and now that's going to be wiped. That's a memory wipe, because all we got for that day gave us 4 measly years in the Football League, and we didn't move forward as a football club at all. So there we go. All I can hope for is that our luck will change in the way of off the field. Some development will happen with Rodney Parade, which will make life easier for us, allow us to make the most of more opportunities, and hopefully the youth players that we've got will come on, come on a bit over the pre-season and become good first teamers. That will be good players in the conference. Like I said, the conference is the weakest it's been for a long time at the moment, especially if Lincoln and Tranmere go up and York go down. As far as club stature, the size of clubs, because if Leyton Orient come down, I can't see them being big hitters unless they clear their debts. A lot of their money, their parachute payment is going to be going towards their debts, whereas with our parachute payment, we don't really got any debts unless we have to sack Westley and pay him off. But at the end of the day, I'd gladly put into a fund to pay the guy off. But I think I'm going to call it time on this one now, because I'm just going to ramble on. I'm going to ramble on all night, and I want to save some things for other blogs and wait until I got that bit more information, or I've thought about these things a little bit more before I go on. This one has been about, we have to sack Westley. We have to. I can't see any other way around it. I really hope to God the board are having that conversation right now. And if I think what I think of them, considering they've wielded the axe a couple of times before, if I think what I think of them, then they will be having that conversation. So rest easy, guys, right? Because I've got the confidence that they are having that conversation, and some developments may emerge in the early part of next week. But that's just me making an educated guess out of hope, really. But we'll soon see anyway. Right then, guys, thanks again for watching, and hopefully the next time I put out a blog, it'll be something, at least will allow us to crack something like half a smile, because I'm sick of doing these blogs on so many negative things, because the thing is, what positive things have we got to talk about right now? Absolutely nothing. But getting it off my chest to you guys, helps take the weight off my shoulders a bit. And I suppose hearing it from somebody else's perspective might make things easier on you. At least you're not alone in the pain that you're feeling. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and up the county, I guess. Cheerio.